Mario. Mario, not Jumpman Mario. The red-hatted, dimension-hopping Chris Pratt-voiced plumber from Brooklyn whose actions only sometimes collapse reality. With lore spanning 7 generations of consoles, choose-your-own-adventure books, and an obscure Japan-only movie that I have violent hatred towards for reasons I will get into later, Mario has had a lot of adventures. Over 130 as a matter of fact. Now, most people think that every game featuring our favorite jumping Wahoo Man is very self-contained. After all, why would it be important that Luigi has slippery shoes in Super Mario Galaxy, but doesn't in Super Mario 3D World? Who cares that both Bowser and Dry Bowser can go-kart against each other in Rosalina's Ice World? I'll have you know, this is vital information. And maybe, once this series is over, you'll understand how incredibly important these details can be to solving the timeline of the entire Mario franchise. Now, before we get into the timeline proper, an understanding needs to be set. Mario and Jumpman are not the same person and are, in fact, 2 different individuals. Full name Giuseppe Jumpman Mario is the character we see throughout these games here. Contrary to what most people think, he is not Mario's father. Jumpman is, at the very least, his great uncle. First game in our timeline begins with Mario's Bombs Away, an entry in Nintendo's LCD Game & Watch games that released on November 10th of 1983. Here we're shown Giuseppe's involvement in the Vietnam War, of all things, where he's tasked with transporting explosive munitions across battlefields. It's during his time in Vietnam that he comes across an abnormally large ape, which is then brought back to Brooklyn to be used as a circus act under the name Donkey Kong. It is at this Brooklyn-based circus where Giuseppe forces DK to juggle pineapples and, on occasion, fire for the audience to laugh at. Riding his fame, old Jumpman enjoys his earnings from his side gig before a freak accident lets Donkey Kong loose to ravage around Brooklyn. Other miscellaneous and unimportant circuses notice the massive moneymaker running loose and attempt to capture the Kong, as seen in the Saturday Supercade episode Circus Days. Ultimately, this leads to DK kidnapping his girlfriend and taking her to one of his day job construction sites. I think it's kind of obvious that this construction site is the one we see in the original Donkey Kong arcade cabinet, released mid-1981. Here we see Giuseppe chase DK up 100 meters of a work-in-progress Wrecking Crew-owned building, dodging barrels and oil fires along the way. Upon reaching the top and literally knocking DK down the floor, and unconscious, he rescues Lady and takes the Kong back to his circus. This time, however, DK's escape will be a little bit more than accidental. Meet Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong's direct son. After his dad is recaptured by Giuseppe, he begins tracking down the portly circus owner and finds the 2 of them at Giuseppe's circus. He attempts to climb through the circus's stages, but each time he reaches his trapped father, Giuseppe retreats to another course with the Kong in tow. After 4 levels of this, Junior finally saves his dad, with Giuseppe being the one knocked unconscious this time. Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, released in 1994, gives us our last real taste of Giuseppe in action. After being freed by his son and experiencing a quick run-in with an oddly aggressive exterminator, he stomps back into the life of a circus-owning construction worker, once again kidnapping Lady. This time, however, the adventure isn't confined to just Brooklyn. Starting once more in that construction site, the 4 characters flip-flop between the Mushroom World and our own, where we see the forests of the soon-to-be Jungle Kingdom, Egypt, and even a cargo jet. Jumpman gives chase through a much more in-depth and puzzle-focused world, and hey, Junior gets the help this time. With Lady rescued one final time, the Kongs and Giuseppe realize how much they're tired of the back and forth they've had for the past 10 years, and call it even. As a result, Giuseppe decides to help DK and his son learn how to use the modern amenities and technology that exists outside the Mushroom Kingdom. And by this, I of course mean that Donkey Kong Jr. Math is next. An odd little edutainment game released in 1983, we see Donkey Kong give his son the exact same lessons that he got from Giuseppe. Meanwhile, the Wrecking Crew company takes the opportunity to use Giuseppe's newfound fame for a bit of a publicity stunt. turning their still unfinished skyscraper into a massive pinball-style attraction with Jumpman as its player. Shortly after, Giuseppe gets a deal with a Japanese game company to make a line of arcade games based on his original exploits in capturing DK. And with both DK and Giuseppe Jumpman Mario living their lives, the entrance to the Mushroom World lies undisturbed and forgotten. For now. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was an absolute treat to work on. I want to thank the patrons who joined during the time I spent on this, which is Django, Tetril, Squiddy Boy, and Nane Fangs. If you want to join the Patreon, a link is in the description alongside my Discord server. And if you want to support but don't want to join, subscribe. It always helps. And next time, things are going to get fun.